Chris, you know that at the Flow Research Collective, our whole thing is flow. So I'd love to dive into that in relation to negotiation. And if you have felt in the past, amid some of your massive hostage negotiations and how you see it show up at the moment, people getting into flow or getting into a flow state amidst or within a negotiation.
Yeah, well, great negotiation, great listening is really being completely in the moment, in the flow state. I mean, you get into a process that you rely on so that you can worry less about where it's going and you just get into it and feel it in the moment. I mean, begin to slightly anticipate what the next few moments are going to be. The interesting add-in for us when you're using the skills, like I can pick the next moment. Like if I know how you're going to react emotionally to something, I can get a very clear picture in my head to your emotional reaction, and I'll choose one. Most likely what I'm going to choose is I know if you're not going to like what I'm getting ready to say. If I just say it, you're going to be angry, miffed. I'm going to trigger your negative emotions in some fashion. I could do that, or I could simply stop that moment from ever happening. And you'll never know that I did that. So it's very much a flow state in the moment when you understand how our hostage negotiation, emotional intelligence skills are going to work. And I get to choose the next couple of moments because I see them coming at me and I make selections.
Chris, how do you, and maybe the answer you already gave it, which is staying focused in the process, but there's such emotional ups and downs in a negotiation. And that is such a flow blocker for so many people, right? When we train people on distraction management and, when they go from, bed to desk in the morning, we often say, try to go as quickly as you possibly can. And for God's sake, don't look at your cell phone because that's, an emotional landmine and it can totally pull you out. And yet you're in a situation where there are emotional landmines. Not only you're negotiating around them, you're also often also hearing bad news. And yet you're starting to maintain not only state, but flow. How do you do that?
It's going to sound stupid, but it's just as much enough rehearsal that you come to rely upon the process. Okay. And then I didn't know that I knew this for the longest time till it finally jumped out at me. The process can't be perfect. Like my old boss, Gary Nessner, used to always preach, here's our best chance of success, best chance of success. And we were successful over and over and over, and then something went bad. And then I said to myself, well, I guess if I've been saying best chance of success, that's not guarantee of success, which means something is gonna go bad. So that's just part of the process. In many ways, I think as soon as you start losing your fear of it going bad by simply to accept that it can, the simple acceptance that it can go bad, look, it could go bad, that's a possible outcome. I saw that happen in a negotiation I was coaching in the Philippines. Guy was a superstar. His brother's life was at stake. And afterwards, I had him come in and lecture at a business negotiation course I was teaching at Georgetown at the time. And I remember he said to me, I got no idea what I talk about. You say I perform really well, but I took your coaching and I realized early on that my brother could get killed and I just accepted that. And I said, that's exactly all I need you to say. Because your acceptance that it could go bad essentially freed you up. And then you got into the moment. I mean, he was astonishing. He took the coaching, it was coachable. He came up with some stuff that we didn't coach him on. He processed it in his brain and we saved his brother's life.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.